This COVID-19 pandemic has brought to the forefront the issue of mental health and emotional well-being. The disruptions to daily life, increased pressures at work, fear of infection, and the uncertainty of the future has affected many people who are now feeling much more depressed and anxious. My team at Naluri uses digital tools to help quantify levels of mental health and emotion so that we can provide targeted and personalized support to employees, insurance customers, or patients. And from our database of thousands of Naluri users, we can compare data from those assessed after the imposition of the movement control order from 18th March versus those we had assessed a few months before. And we see that people who self-reported elevated levels of depression rose by 13%, while those who self-reported elevated levels of stress rose by 43%. Now, as part of our digital coaching and monitoring, we also see pronounced increase in our depression sentiment analysis, which analyzes the words of our users when they type in their chats with their health coaches. So you can see sentiment doubling and peaking by late April, early May, compared to before the movement control order, and then normalizing in May and June, but significantly higher than pre-COVID-19. Now, interestingly, by applying quantitative tools to mental health, we can also analyze these emotions by age group. And I want to share an interesting finding comparing under 30s, or the younger millennials, and above 40s, people in my age group. So we see clear differences where millennials, based on this defined age range, experience 79% higher levels of depression, 59% higher levels of anxiety, and 40% higher levels of stress. This intergenerational finding has been extensively studied and replicated around the world, so the finding itself is not new. It's just noteworthy that we also see this pattern from our own Naluri dataset. Now, there are many factors that contribute to this generational difference, including millennials facing more financial pressures because wages have not increased as much as cost of living has, less exercise or outdoor activities, and much more screen time, less social support, marrying later, and less deeper, meaningful friendships replaced with more superficial online friends or followers. Now, a work and social multiple screen lifestyle with smartphones, tablets, laptops, and TVs means attention spans are being fragmented. People are losing focus easier because of too many distractions from constant notification beeps. So it's also from a work culture where people expect instant messages to be replied instantly. And the problem with that is that work goes through frequent start-stops to jump and answer text messages, emails, and social media chatter. And when the brain becomes overwhelmed with jumping from one thought process to the other, it becomes more susceptible to anxiety and depression. Because anxiety is when we start to get triggered by negative thoughts of a future threat or problem, even before they arise. And depression is when we get triggered by reminders of thoughts of past threats or problems that keep replaying in our heads. And so mind wandering, exacerbated by this multitasking culture, increases the likelihood of depressive or anxious thoughts. Now, another cause that may also be unique to millennials is the problem of choice. Having too many choices breeds negative feelings. Today, the drop down and click menu presents an overwhelming abundance of choices to buy anything online, to watch countless TV shows and movies online, and whatever you choose, you're going to be missing out on other things that people are watching. There are more educational choices, more career choices, more investment choices, and let's not even get started on the Tinder phenomenon. So Priya Parker, an expert in residence at the Harvard Innovation Lab, calls this phenomenon FOBO, or fear of better options. And so when we have choices, we start to worry that we're making a wrong decision. Now, a research that illustrates this very well done by Kushlev and Dunn from the University of British Columbia on affective forecasting, knowing how we will feel in the future. And so in this study, participants were split into two groups. The first group was told to pick a piece of artwork and take it home, and they had to stick with that choice. A second group was told to pick a piece of artwork to take home, but they were given an option to change it to another piece even if they did not like it after a week. And so those who had a choice to switch experienced less appreciation or joy from their chosen artwork compared to those who did not have the option to switch. Let's think about that. It does explain why millennials switch jobs more often, because if you keep thinking of another option that you might have, it may be better than the current state, you become less happy with what you have. Extend that to even our relationships and our own material possessions. When overwhelmed with options, we tend to regret our decisions. We obsess over foregone alternatives, or we simply don't choose at all. And the implication for us is that so much of happiness comes not from getting what you want, but from wanting what you get. Food for thought. And more than ever, let's keep things positively personal.